Good evening. Thank you for coming tonight, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting tonight's event. Again, my name is David Hanson. I'm running for Circuit Judge of the Ninth Circuit. I also graduated from the very prestigious John Marshall Law School, but since law school, I've worked in many areas of the law. I've represented private clients in jury trials, arbitration and mediation, and in federal district court. I've served as an assistant state's attorney in Knox County, prosecuting the most serious felony cases. I also represented the county in civil matters, including before the Illinois Appellate Court. Currently, I serve as a Knox County Chief Public Defender, and that's a position I was appointed to by the unanimous vote of all of the circuit judges of the Ninth Circuit, both Democrats and Republicans. As a candidate for judge, I was also recommended in the poll of attorneys conducted by the Illinois State Bar Association. Now, just as important as my legal experiences, I believe, are my experiences outside the courtroom. I live in Galesburg with my wife and our 3 children. I tended bar, waited tables, and enlisted in the United States Marine Corps Reserve to help pay my way through college and law school. A month after starting law school, my Marine Corps Reserve unit was activated and deployed to Iraq, where I served as a squad leader in the military police platoon providing security for coalition forces. After completing my deployment, I returned home and finished law school. Now, the reason I mention these things is being a good judge is about more than just legal experience. It's also about having real-world life experience and understanding the people and the problems that come into your courtroom. And one of the things I've learned from my experiences is the importance of treating every single person with dignity and respect. Because everyone, no matter who you are or where you come from, have hard times in life, in their family, their school, their work, or their health. And that when people become involved in the court system, the thing that's most important to them is an opportunity to be heard, listened to, and treated fairly. Another thing I've learned is that serious crimes of violence and crimes that victimize our children, demand serious consequences. And it's important that we have judges who have the courage and the backbone to hand down those type of tough sentences befitting those sorts of crimes. On the flip side, it's also important to understand that the interests of justice aren't necessarily served by ruining a nonviolent offender's future because of one mistake, or a mistake related to a mental illness or an addiction that can or should be treated. Judicial races are very important races. Judges make big, important decisions that can have life-altering consequences. And in Illinois, we are very fortunate because we get to choose at the voting booth who our circuit judges are. It's not up to a group of attorneys, it's not up to other judges or retired judges. It's up to you, the voters, to decide who you want to make these big, important decisions that affect your property, your family, and your community. As a candidate for circuit judge, what I commit to you is that I will be honest, I will follow the law, and I will bring all the wisdom that I have acquired as an attorney, a veteran, a husband, a son, and a father to court with me every single day to work for fairness and justice. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joshua Jefferson. First and foremost, I want to start by thanking the League, the Macomb High staff and faculty, and of course the student government for putting this together. I've been a member of this community for 10 years now. I work at the Malpass Library full-time as a library assistant. I've had the pleasure of working as both an archivist and a regular library worker. I'm an alumni of Western Illinois University's Political Science Department, whose training allowed me to be here tonight. I'm also a member of the local Rotary Club, and I've also served as an AmeriCorps alum in this area. For me, the most important aspect of
All right, next is Paul Trimmer.
Yes, my name is Paul Trimmer, and I've been a resident.
Just came down to Western to visit. I fell in love with the town. I've come and gone a couple of times, but I keep coming back to the small rural community. I met my wife here. We felt that Macomb was a wonderful place to raise our kids. We've raised them both. Neither of them live at home. They're not on their own, I'm happy to say. I am a building contractor. I'm self-employed. I've been on the county board now for 4 years, representing District 1. I feel in those 4 years, I've come to respect the county board system. I have respect for both Democrats and Republicans alike on the board. I think most of the people on the board all the people on the board are trying to do the right thing, which is to make sure that the workings of the county are responsible, especially financially, to the people of the county of Clinton County. And I also like it. I've learned a lot. I feel I can be a definite advantage to the county if they see the election, for example. So, thank you.
Our next candidate is Robert Schaus.
I'd like to thank everybody for being here tonight. I've lived in Macomb with my wife and family for 23 years now. I previously served 8 years on the Macomb School Board, and I think that the knowledge that I was able to gain there, I can bring to the county board. We did a lot of positive things when I was on the Macomb School Board, and I think that everybody working together, we can continue to bring good things to the county.
All right, looks like Jerry Tyson is missing, so we'll move on to Jane Kramer.
Again, thank you for having us here tonight. It's been one of the honors of my life to be on the county board for 10 years. I'd like to serve another term. I don't know if Paul and I will go off at the same time, but win or lose, I'd like to thank you folks for coming tonight and the opportunity to have served you. Thank you.
Next is Jared Huffman.
Well, again, I want to thank everyone for coming. I want to thank the League of Women Voters. My name is Jared Huffman. I've been in the area since mid-70s. Went to Good Hope in Northwestern for school. I'm an alumni from WIU for my undergraduate. My wife also teaches here in town. She teaches at Edison. We have 2 daughters in school right now. And I figure we've been around long enough that I can probably get back. Thank you.
And next is Chris Hance.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you to the league. I had lived in Macomb all my life, and graduated from Macomb High. It's been a while since I've been through here, and it was kind of interesting walking through the hall. I attended Western. My wife and daughter have graduated from WIU, and it would be very much an honor to serve you and this county. I have been walking with our state rep candidate for 13 months, knocking on doors, and I've been listening to people's concerns and feel that I understand. And one important thing they want at all levels of government is change, open-mindedness, and the ability to listen to their concerns. And I feel I can bring that to the county. Thank you.
So the Q&A section is next, construction of a new McDonough County animal shelter. Lee?
Yes, I do. It's going to be expensive. We've seen some bids and some quotes. The issue is, when we bring, especially the cats, in from the outside, we don't have a place to quarantine them. So you're bringing sick cats into cats that you tried to make healthy. My father was a veterinarian. It's an issue. You have to get the cats healthy all over again. It's expensive, it costs a lot of money. There are some people that would like to help in the funding of this. It'll take a little extra effort. We haven't seen a quote yet that we think it would be a reasonable ask to the taxpayers at this point in time. But yes, it's needed. Thank you.
Anyone else? Do you support the construction of a new McDonough County animal shelter? Anyone else like to take that one on?
Rich, I'd only say that I definitely support the existence of the animal shelter. I think they do an excellent job down there. I'm not too familiar with the nuts and bolts of the operations there, how much space they have, numbers, but if it would help the county out, I would be absolutely behind it. I've got a dog and a cat. We want the best for the animals.
Anyone else on that particular question? If not, we'll move on. Are there any plans to develop a recycling place for the county? I guess for the incumbents, are there any plans for people who are not on the board? Is this something you would like to see, and how would you go about doing it?
The only thing I can say, Rich, I don't, in the committees I'm on, that hasn't been discussed. But I know, I'm correct in that the city has recycling, and because we live in, or I live in the country, and we don't have recycling. And I've been asked, I know all my kids where they live, they still live in Tennessee, and they have recycling dumpsters where they go and take their stuff. But that's a good question, and I'm all for recycling, but it's never come up with anything that I would, actually I'll check on it. So, because I think it's a good thing to recycle. So, my wife's still trying to recycle me.
Sure, go ahead, Jay.
I worked at the university and have for the past 12 years, and the recycling that is done is minimal. And I think that is something that could be huge in the area, not only the city, but the outlying area. And just the university alone, I think, would make it pay. I mean, I think that it's such a huge volume of stuff that could be recycled through the university that currently is not, that could make it very worthwhile.
Go ahead, Dish.
I totally agree with Jay on this. I'm a firm believer in recycling. Like Paul, I live out in the country, try to recycle what I can, I bring it into the recycling center. It would be nice if, I see a lot of waste at the university too. And I think our grandparents would turn over in their graves if they saw how much we wasted and threw away. And I think we ought to be ashamed of ourselves, and I think we ought to put the effort and the money into a good recycling program. It would probably cost, so it wouldn't be easy. Everybody would have to give it a cost. I would vote for that.
Any other thoughts on the recycling center? If not, I'll move on. Oh, go ahead, Josh.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think having a recycling center and making it a countywide effort to increase not only the recycling efforts, but to expand and to make sure that we're moving into more renewable options across the board for all of our services countywide, making sure that we are providing people with that option, because oftentimes that's all people need, just the option to recycle. And so if we present them with that, I think we'll find that many people jump right on board, and it will just become second nature to them. And the benefit to that for us as a county is huge. The land is so important to us around here. Everybody knows somebody that farms out here. So protecting the land and maintaining the land, that's something that we have to sacrifice a little bit for to make sure that we can continue to use it.
If there are no other thoughts, I'll move on to the next question. I think I'll ask everyone to answer this one. We'll start with Chris Hance on the far end and come back down this way. What do you see as the most pressing issue facing the board in the next 5 years, and how would you go about addressing that issue?
Well, there's several that I feel warrant concern. One in general, basically, is balancing our tax burden and services. It would have to be the animal shelter, the questions asked tonight, the animal shelter and the recycling would all have to be based on and looked at through the tax base and whether that could be implemented. And that's something that on every issue has to be looked at. The the balancing act between the two. And I hope that as taxpayers, like myself, that you would be concerned to make sure that the services and the tax is, works the right way in the favor of the county residents. That type of issue would be my main concern, to make sure that that balance is met and the proper services, the needed services are available to the people at the correct cost.
Jared Huffman?
I think one of the big issues that we're gonna face as a county, and we're already facing it, is unemployment. It's pretty high. It was fairly scary when Western laid off the number of people that it did. Thankfully, a number of people were called back, but I don't really see it dissipating. We see Kmart's closing. And I realize that some of these are city issues, but Macomb's a big part of our county. I don't have an answer for how we address it, but I definitely think it's going to be a major, major problem over the next several years.
Lee Trotter?
Your question related to the next 5 years, I think what we've seen in the last 5 months could carry on to the next, to the previous 5 months, could carry on to the next 5 months. And that's the loss of the 700 students out at Western. We passed a retail sales tax in this county last year for pizzas, soda pops, tires, everything that you can imagine other than food prescriptions in an effort to keep our county roads safe. We've lost 700 payers into that. And if Western continues on this path, this county is going to hurt for much more than it does now. We aren't going to be able to continue the services that we come to enjoy, and we aren't going to be able to attract the students that we need if they don't see vibrant businesses, vibrant restaurants, vibrant efforts to keep our county going. Thank you.
Clay Hinderleiter?
County is kind of having the same, it's finances, it's unemployment, it's jobs. You can sit here and we can blame whoever we want on the mess that Illinois is in. Granted, I think everybody up here has the desire to work together and do what we can to bring good jobs back to McDonough County, back to McDonough, and be good stewards of our money. Where are we, and we need to look at where are we missing some money at? Are there grants out there that we're missing just because we don't have anybody that I know of to do this on like a full-time basis? Is there money that we could be using to help build maybe a new home shelter? So I think I don't know what the answer is for 5 years from now, but I think everybody, it is the finances and it's the unemployment here in McDonough County that will have an effect on us.
Dick Marcotte?
Again, I sound like a broken record, I guess, but the economic issues are probably the most pressing issues. Macomb the county needs some growth to expand our income. Without new growth, attracting new businesses, we're going to have to make do with what we have. That may take some more thinking out of the box, some more creative solutions. It will take a recycling center that, I don't see a recycling center as making any money. I see it maintaining a service. I think we're going to have to just operate efficiently. It's going to be the county board's duty to make sure that all of these offices of the county are working efficiently. We have good people.
Paul Trimmer?
It's kind of a tough question.
I don't know that there's one way to pinpoint the one biggest problem, because all of these are huge problems that face the county board. We talk about the need for greater economic diversity. We need to be empowering people that have small industries, cottage industries, people that are working out of their homes that can't get into a brick and mortar, but they're also in that middle ground where they can't quite upscale so that they can build out their business. Those are people that could become the new base for the economy here in Macomb. We need to start talking with other county boards. We need to start expanding out and talking to our neighbors and saying, hey, maybe we go in on the recycling center. Maybe this is a service that by going in together, we can make this more palatable, more fiscally responsible for all of us. We start talking about tourism and expanding out our social media outreach, having festivals. We have tons of artists, we have tons of creative people in this town. There's no reason that we can't reach out and have a large-scale event like the Cornerstone that left us to help bring back in an influx of people interested in seeing this community for the first time and maybe sticking around for the long term.
The sales tax to pay for road repairs was mentioned at least a couple times in that round. So we're wondering, do you feel the county has a good plan in place for distributing that money? And would you make any changes to that plan or any changes to the way the money is being distributed? Mr. Trimmer.
The way the money is distributed, the sales tax money, that money has to go for construction of the roads. In the highway department, there's different funds. There's the fund for the maintenance, and then you have funds for salaries. So anyhow, that money all goes to the roads. So, and what that money does is allows us to increase the amount, well, the mileage we fix. I think this last year we fixed 12 miles. Like I said, the county has 180 miles of road, so which the roads should be, if they're chip and seal, they ought to be done like every 3 years, and we've got roads that have gone 7, 8, 10 years, and that's why they got those potholes and big potholes. So anyhow, that money is designated, so it's not like they can go out and buy, what I said, that they just had to buy a new truck because they had one blow up. But anyhow, but it doesn't come out, that comes out of a separate fund for, which is put in the budget every year. So anyhow, the money is designated and it's being spent for what we're collecting tax on, and it's helping a lot.
Do you feel it's being well distributed throughout the county? I guess to clarify the question a little bit. Do you feel like all parts of the county are getting taken care of?
You want that, Bill?
Yeah, like Paul said, there's 180 miles of county road that they're responsible for. There's only so much money to allocate the resources for. All the money, the 4% tax increase that has been collected to date has gone to the county highway department, and they distribute it as they see fit. There are certain roads that are in worse condition than other roads. There are certain roads that are more traveled than other roads. County engineer has to prioritize all of this, which roads are going to be done next. Part of that is through feedback from the public. Part of it is from the fact that they drive the roads all the time. That's their job. But the county board members have to hold their feet to the fire and make sure that they are doing the work efficiently and properly, so that your taxpayers' money is being spent wisely. That's our job.
Sure.
Adding to that, it was a county-wide referendum, so what the county engineer is doing, and the county board, since everybody voted on that and it passed, we're trying to fix roads, not in one area, but we're kind of jumping around the county. I mean, there's roads everywhere that need to be repaired. And so we're trying to move that around so they're not all, everybody would like to have all their roads. This guy over here, Mark Thompson's driving about Spring Lake Road. But he doesn't have any control over it. And actually, Spring Lake Road is something that's tied in with the state bypass, or not the state bypass, the city bypass. So the state has to fix that road when they're done. That's when, if you drive that, just you can blame the state. I mean, that's something the state's gonna pay for, so that's the county is kind of, they keep patching it. But, that's the reason, nothing, that road needs to be done. But we did one down, in the southeast, southwest, and we did Walnut Grove last summer, so.
Would anyone else like to talk about road repairs? If not, we'll move on to the next question. What qualifications do you have for service on the county board? I would hope everyone would like to chime in on this one. What qualifications do you have for service on the county board? I'll start, go ahead.
Well, this is, it's the hardest thing to put yourself up here on this side of the table, to say that you want to share your opinions and actions with the folks. My grandfather was on the county board back in the old days. I just admired him so much. I was raised in the house of politics and sharing and watching the news and talking about the news. It's the worst hobby a person can have, but I have it, and I enjoy serving and listening to smart people, and I hear smart people a lot in our county board meetings, and I enjoy it. I'm learning some pretty smart stuff there tonight, actually. Thank you.
Qualifications for serving on the county board. Is that Jared?
Yes.
All right.
I think one of them is living here for so long. I've been in this community forever. So I know a lot of people around here. I know a lot of the concerns. My family's been here for even longer. And one of the things that I've always heard from them is they have no control. They feel like there's a lot of things that is just run and they don't know what's going on. By running for the board and hopefully getting on the board, then maybe I can affect some change. In terms of official qualifications, this will be my first elected office, but I like to listen to people. I like to find solutions for problems.
Qualifications? Go ahead, Mr. Schaus.
Okay. As I said before, I was elected to serve on the county school board for 8 years. And when a neighbor of mine found out I was running for a county board, they came up to me and said, "Are you just a glutton for punishment?" And maybe I am. But again, I think it's important to give back to the community that you live in. One of the things that I did when I was serving on the school board was I didn't try to make parents happy. I didn't try to make teachers happy. I tried to do what was best for the students, because that's what I felt we were doing. As a member of the county board, I would try to do what is best for the entire county, not a certain group, not a particular group of people, not a certain town, but the entire county. I think working together with everybody and all the different opinions that I had when I was serving on the school board, I think would be beneficial as a member of the county board.
Mr. Jefferson and then Mr. Trimmer.
I can't say that my qualifications lie in being long-lived. My qualifications lie in my education and the service that I've given to the community, the service and the morals that have been imparted into me by the people that have taught me and by my parents. I come from a military family. I come from a union family. I've been taught and trained to serve other people above your own needs, to not put your needs ahead of somebody else's. And so that's where my qualifications lie. I joined Rotary as soon as somebody gave me an opportunity to join Rotary. When I was laid off from Western before I got rehired, just up and leaving, I found service opportunities so that I could remain in the community for as long as I could until I could find a job or figure out what to do next. I'm a person that's dedicated to service, and so that's where my qualifications for this position lie at.
Did you wish to speak?
I will. I think it's probably something everybody ought to talking about. I guess my qualifications are, I went to college, and then I dropped out, and then started a conflict. And so I went back to college, so I wouldn't have to get involved in conflict. And then I graduated. The government gave me a job, they sent me to Southeast Asia. Well, fortunately, I had a degree in engineering, so I ended up in the engineers. I built roads and fire bases and things. And when I got out of the service, I worked for a company in Chicago. We did remodel restaurants. I moved to Macomb and ended up buying a roofing company. So I was a roofing contractor for 42 years. I'm now retired. I don't do advice. But I think with my background on the county board, I'm on buildings and grounds, and I'm on the highway committee. So I think I have something to add to those committees. I've done quite a bit of work on this.
Mr. Hinderleiter?
I'm a child of the 60s. I remember.
Zoning, I think, is very important, but for me, it's more for environmental and personal safety. The hog confinements are one of the areas. Having grown up on a farm, I've been downwind from a few smaller hog farms in the past, and they're less than pleasant, usually. With the larger factory-style farms coming in, it becomes more of an issue. You also have then the potential for pollution and other aspects on that I feel that zoning would at least help contain and make sure that we don't end up inadvertently potentially harming a good portion of the county. If we limit to certain zones, then again, we have environmental safety and we have personal safety.
Mr. Hinderleiter and then Mr. Jefferson.
If you don't have zoning rules, if you don't have rules, you don't control your property within the county. Within the county, the way it is right now, Macomb has say-so what happens a mile and a half outside of the city limits all the way around the city, not county. All right. So if you don't have some rules to protect whatever issues are important to all of us, then somebody can come here helter-skelter and do whatever they please, and if we try to stop them, there's going to be a fight in court, and that's going to cost a lot of money. Those issues can be resolved pretty quickly if you have a set of rules down that everybody goes by, everybody understands, everybody has input, and it's like living in Macomb. I wanted chickens. The vote was 8-1 against chickens in Macomb. I was the one. I now have chickens. I don't live in Macomb. If you don't have a set of rules for this county, it's wide open. You don't control it.
Mr. Jefferson.
Well, at this point, essentially everything's been touched on, but I would be in favor of zoning, and primarily for the same reason that Mr. Hinderleiter touched on. You have to have rules in place. You have to make sure that in the event that somebody comes in and they want to put something in that's potentially harmful to the community, that you can, at the very least, slow that process down so that the citizens can get involved and say, well, wait, what's really going on? But on the flip side of that, we also have to make sure that as we move forward and the board starts investigating issues of zoning, that there are safeguards put in place so that the zoning doesn't become a weapon, because that's something that can very readily become an issue, where you have somebody that's hostile to you on the board and they have enough sway that they decide that they're going to use the zoning against you to make sure that you can't expand your home, you can't expand your farm, you can't switch and do something with your property. So as long as there's safeguards in place to make sure that the use of that is fair and equitable, I don't see an issue with it.
Mr. Marcotte.
So I would say that as common sense zoning, I would be strongly in favor of common sense zoning. We don't want to find the government over-regulating. That's what the people, the farmers, the large landowners in Dunn County are worried about. Nobody wants to be told what to do. But there is such a thing as the common good, and I think the common sense limited zoning would be a welcome change in this county, be good for everybody.
Would anyone else like to weigh in on zoning? Mr. Trotter?
I think it's coming, and I think it's gonna be here before we know it because of the mega farms. I voted against the last the 3 mega farms that we voted on. I put myself through college running a honey wagon. I had a confinement myself. I worked on a couple of them here in the county. We used to put these hog confinements in our own backyards. And now we're putting them 10 miles from the farmers who just got permission to build the last one are building it 10 miles from their house. They're building it, clear out in a section of ground that isn't populated. Well, it's never going to be populated now, or isn't going to be in the lifetime of that building. I don't really like zoning. I don't really like the sound of it, but I'd much rather have that than have this community, this wonderful county, turned into some of the counties on the East Coast that didn't have zoning, and all of a sudden the hog farms are there, hogs, dairy, whatever. It's an honest buck. I think there's raising hogs paid a lot of bills in this county, but if you're going to do it in your own backyard. Thank you.
Mr. Schaus?
I'm in favor of it also, and I think a lot of it, I agree with what everybody has said up here. I think it's a common sense thing. You want to protect the county, you want to protect the environment that we're in, but you don't want to overstep. You want to use it for as kind of a payback, towards somebody. So there has to be common sense when you definitely when you do it.
If that is it, we're going to wrap things up with the county board.
Feel like to answer one of the questions. Actually, my desire is my main asset, I feel, that would be as a county board member, my desire to help the county and keep it strong and growing. And I appreciate everybody coming out tonight, and thank you very much.
Jared Huffman?
Ditto. Actually, I do want to say thank you again to everybody. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for having this forum. I think it's a good area for all of us to come out and at least tell you a little bit about ourselves and tell you how we feel. I'm running because I want to give back to the community. So hopefully everybody that can votes for me.
Lee Trotter?
Thank you again for coming. I'm just charged up about this. I know we got, this is the biggest panel I've ever had in the 10 years I've served here. A wonderful response from the other county, from the other party on this. I appreciate that. You, as the chairman of the Democrat, you can see how proud I am of the new people that we have on our side who want to get involved. Thank you very much.
Clay Hinderleiter?
Again, thanks for coming out tonight.
I think everybody up here just wants the same thing. They want McDonough County to grow. They want to do what's best for the people of the county. And everybody up here thinks they deserve to be elected. I'm one of those people. So vote for me, please. I would enjoy working with the current board members and any new members that are elected. I think I have a lot to bring to the board. And again, thank you for this evening. It was a very good turnout.
Dick Marcotte?
Thank you to the League of Women Voters. It's nice to see a lot of people getting on here and participating. I would like to build on the 4 years that I've already spent on the county board. I think that members of District 1 would do themselves a favor to vote me back in. And when I get home tonight, I'm going to have a Trump sandwich. But I'm not going to tell you what that is.
Paul Trimmer?
I've got to
Thank
thank
you to
you.
the League of Women Voters. I'm honored to have had the opportunity to be a part of this panel. I don't even have any words for it, really. It's fantastic to be in a room with so many people that are so concerned about what happens in this county and want to find ways to make this place a better place for everybody. And so I hope that I have that opportunity to serve on the board. I hope that that's something that constituents in my area are willing to provide me, but no matter what, I'm still going to be here, and I'm still going to continue to serve this county in any capacity that I can.
Thank you, candidates, for helping us